Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and this time we've got the pleasure of watching Hart from the Russian server in the Tier 10 French auto-loading medium tank. It is of course the Bat Chatillon 25T. Now this is personally one of my most played tanks in World of Tanks, along with the M48A5 pattern, the E75 and I believe the Comet. The Bat Chat is right up there, and that's because when this tank entered the game in update 7.1 it really did revolutionize what you could do as an individual. The whole new auto-loading mechanic that this vehicle had, and also the AMX-50B had as those top-tier French tanks. Now when this vehicle first went into the game, it was actually at tier 9 and led on from the Lorraine and then all of the French light tanks, with the AMX-1390 I believe packing up to tier 7. Now this vehicle was the more mobile tank, while the AMX-50B was kind of that let's go in and just kind of unload those bigger 120mm shells. Although the alpha difference between the 105mm rounds that the Bat Chat carries and the 120mm rounds that the heavy tank carries is only 10 alpha damage. And this tank actually carries more rounds in the magazine, although it takes a lot longer to reload. And so these auto-loaders, they were just completely unprecedented, and it did revolutionize World of Tanks. The fact that you could save up lots of rounds, dumping them into the magazine or the drum, and then unloading them for 1,950 damage within about just under 11 seconds of the first shot was just absolutely ridiculous, and that's why I decided to play this tank so much. Now, I have to admit, I kind of went off the vehicle a little bit, here and there. I played it a hell of a lot in Update 7 and Update 8, and then in kind of Update 9 and most of the 1.0 as now we're calling it. I haven't really played the Bat Chat that much. However, when they added in the Tier 10 light tanks, I kind of realized, wow, the Bat Chat is just way better than all of the other Tier 10 light tanks at doing that light tank role of being fast, but also being dangerous when you get there. However, it hasn't really replaced them as a scout. Well, I think that this tank can do just as good scouting as all of the vehicles, arguably apart from the T100LT. Its combat capacity is far and above any of those tanks, especially at long range with the APCR, because all the Tier 10 light tanks get a 25% penetration shell drop-off over 500 meters, whereas this vehicle's penetration is barely dropping to 250. Alright, so Hart secures his second kill of the game on the Skoda T50, definitely one of the competitions that this tank has in the TVP, and now he's going to put one into the Moistion's lower plate, finished off the tier 9 heavy, and now go for a reload. Now of course, what do you need to do in your auto-loaders after you've finished unloading all of your magazine? We have to try and find a safe spot to hide, and Hart is looking right now about thinking, okay, how am I going to get out of this situation? He's using the building behind him to avoid the Tortoise and the T110E4 and the Object 705 that are behind him, and I guess he's just thinking, is this Black Dog going to come after me? He's got probably about another 15 seconds left on this reload, and so he hides in the other corner to avoid the Black Dog, and luckily it doesn't look like the Tortoise managed to catch a glimpse at him, and then when you finish reloading, that's when the Bat Chat is going to go to town. And that Black Dog is not very well, and it's just able to dump out 800 damage within about 2.75 seconds of the first shot, then put another one into the Scorpion. That was a big old hit there. And the fact that even though your aim time and accuracy are not exactly wonderful in the Bat Chat, when you're engaging at short to mid-range like Hart is here on Ensk, is that 3 tanks in a single magazine? Is he going to get the 4th one as well? No, he's not! A tracking shot! But within the first 4 minutes of this battle, Hart has already picked up a Top Gun with 3,000 damage. But he's got his work cut out for him, as pretty much half of the enemy team is still alive. Okay, so just like what happened when Hart was trying to avoid the Tortoise and to keep tabs on what the Black Dog was planning, now he needs to fall back, to regroup, to load in the shells, and it looks like he's going to make a sweeping play behind his opponents here. Now the TVP has swung in. The TVP looks like he's looking for the Bat Chat here, maybe trying to take advantage of the long reload that this tank has, although it looks like the TVP is going to be a little bit too late, as Hart has swung himself into position to actually counter the TVP. One into him, the artillery slams Hart from the other side of the map. That was a clutch shot, but Hart puts in another one to finish off the VK100, one into the back of the T110E5, and is he going to go for a reload now? I'm just wondering if he's going to decide to get... Yes, he is. Okay, correct decision here in my opinion, as Hart now finds himself in a 1 versus 6 situation. Ensk, not really the kind of map that a Bat Chat would usually be doing well on. because it's a bloody fight on Ensk, isn't it? It kind of ends up going very, very quickly, and this tank with its poor DPM of 2,300 base and not able to use a gun rammer does need an exceptionally long game to be able to carry. Alright, so Hart unfortunately gets spotted by the T124, and it looks like he's making his way out into the field, where he's hopefully going to be able to handle the GWE 100 that splashed him. And he knows exactly where that GWE 100 was. He knows that he's all the way out towards the east, but he's also got to watch out for the fact that there is somebody inside the cap circle. So does he have the time to be able to go on a wild goose chase right now, or does he need to make his way back towards the cap? And it looks like Hart has decided to make straight towards to defend his cap circle now. Okay, so 1 minute and 15 seconds left. You know, you got your time, Hart, but he's actually run out of APCR rounds nearly, and so he's loading heat rounds now, and so they're not going to be able to go through objects. So Hart fires clutch, the T44, just managing to spot him after he fires, so the camera rating on the bat chat rather impressive. Hart realizing that he's just got to isolate this T44, decides to press in, finishes him off with a booming ammo rack there, and now decides to fall back. Is he going to reload again, or is he going to keep these 3 shells? With 5 tanks left on the enemy team, still the AMX 1390 appears, and is Hart going to be able to hit the Tier 8 French light tank now, the one that used to lead on to the bat chat before Wargaming added in the Tier 9 French autoloading medium tank in the form of the Bat Chatillon AP. Alright, so Hart puts 1 into the 705 and a second one right through the lower plate and makes a great use of his ammunition. With now only 10 rounds left, and the fact that that 705 is definitely going to take up at least 2 of the shells that Hart is going to fire unless he gets an ammo rack or sets him on fire, then he's really got his work cut out for him here, especially if that tortoise has a lot of hit points. The T124 we noticed didn't have the largest amount. Okay, Hart gets spotted again by the Object 705 and swings his tank around to try and make his movements unpredictable. Now on 10 kills, Hart is going for the one that nobody gets, the Rezanai Heroes medal here, as something that I haven't managed to achieve myself, and will definitely cement Hart in the league of the legendary tankers if he can manage to secure all these kills. But he's got his work cut out for him before we can take a look at the post-game stats. Alright, so Hart, now we know that probably the Object 705 has made his way towards the cap circle, and Hart's just trying to find out where these tank destroyers are. And Hart's looking to the left, he's just swinging around here, and oh my word, what a great prediction for where the T110E4 was. Oh, the T110E4 actually managed to swing round, and because of the semi-turreted tank and the increased traverse from the tracks as well, he actually does a huge amount of damage to Hart there, and he puts 1 into the artillery, puts the second one, and oh my word, the artillery shell just whizzes over Hart's top of his turret there. That could have been an absolute heartbreak. And once again, Hart turns his tank around and tries to make his movements unpredictable. He's trying to send the tortoise on a wild goose chase. And now this is the worst thing for the bat chat when you've got awkward amounts of shells left, because you want to take some heat and you want to take some APCR. And so he's having to reload 2 heat rounds now. This is so awkward, but I can understand why he's chosen heat here, because he can easily go through the front of the Object 705 with the heat, and then hopefully can manage to flank the tortoise to be able to load those 3 APCR rounds. Alright, so with 421 hit points left, it doesn't matter what gun the Object 705 is using, he is a one-shot for him. The tortoise is going to have to roll high if he wants to be able to finish him off, but oh gosh, Hart, that was an awkward bounce, because the heat doesn't deal very well against spaced armor and tracks counter spaced armor. That means that 1 shell is fluffed and Hart can no longer manage to kill him in a single magazine. So he's going to have to probably reload now, but instead of reloading, he actually manages to find the tortoise and puts 1 into the top of the tortoise, and now he can reload his APCR rounds. That was a lucky roll there on the tortoise. 421 out of 390. It's not a godlike roll, but it's definitely... Hart's going to need everything that he can to be able to get through this situation. If that one hadn't rolled high, then Hart would have had to have used all his ammunition to be able to finish off the tortoise and the Object 705. But now, favor seems to strike Hart once again in this battle. He manages to find a glimpse of the Object 705 through this tiny little gap between the trees and the building here. It doesn't look like the 705 has the best camera rating. Alright, Hart doesn't fire blind. He's got 3 shells, so I guess he can afford to fire 1. And if this manages to fly true, it's going to put the 705 down to a 1-shot potential. There you go. Track the 705. Second one through the side of the tank as well. And Hart fires his final shell in glorious victory, securing a 1 versus 6 situation with a very lightly armored tank. And also 14 kills at tier 10. This was one for the record books. So Hart picks up a plethora of medals here. The Rosenai Heroes Medal for vanquishing 14 out of 15 of the enemy players. As I mentioned, something I've never been able to achieve. And also a Kolobanov's medal for standing alone against at least 5, in this case 6. A Pascucci's medal for handling 2 self-propelled guns. A Defender's medal, a high caliber for near 7,000 damage dealt. And while he does lose credits even with a premium account, as all of that heat ammunition was fired and also the premium consumable was resupplied, I probably don't think the Hart really cares. So Hart, congratulations to you, and Spicy Babal Shoy for uploading this on the What Replays Are You website. I just loved this all-in style, and it's why I've personally been in love with the tank since it entered the game in 7.1. And so that's it for today, ladies and gents. I hope you enjoyed this one as much as I did. If you did, give it a thumbs up, but if you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're watching this video as it's released, it's time for another World of Tanks Tech Tree Showcase on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And this week, 519 of you voted, and while it was a close run event between the IS-4, the Kranvang is the victor. And so come along right now as I work my way up the Swedish heavy tank tech tree, and so you can see if it's a line that's worth grinding, or alternatively, if you already have the tanks, maybe pick up a few tips and tricks along the way. And personally, I'm more interested to play this tech tree than ever, as Wargaming just announced at Wargaming Fest that there will be a whole new branch of Swedish medium tanks. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible right now on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.